Hi, this is Mink, and today I'm here to tell you about a recently solved cold case in Arizona. For decades, they called her Valentine Sally, and for nearly 4 decades, as a matter of fact. Her mangled and decomposing body was found along the side of Highway 40 near Williams, Arizona. For those of you that aren't familiar with Arizona, this is part of the old Route 66 between the Chicago area and the California coast. The time was February 14th, 1982, and a Department of Public Safety officer, which would be a deputy, of the Coconino County was looking for a stranded motorist with a blown-out tire. It was about 11 miles outside of Williams. It was a very cold and frosty morning, he said, when he discovered the body of the young woman, and to him it appeared as if she'd been out in the elements for about a couple of weeks. She was lying face down under a cedar tree about 25 feet from the highway. At this point, she had been disfigured around her face and one ear as it had been eaten by animals and insects. So the deputy ran to his radio to call for backup. She was discovered with only a red and white striped sweater, jeans, but no identification. And at this point in 1982, DNA was a long way off. So without knowing who she was or having any solid leads, of course the case went cold. Valentine Sally haunted the Coconino Sheriff's Office for decades. It appeared that she had been dumped along the side of the highway. Now, this was a kind of a straight track between New Mexico and California, and many trucks drove this route, and they would stop and pull over to the side to sleep or catch a bite to eat. So it would not be unusual to see a truck pulled over by the side of the road. As time went on, and because of the development of DNA technology, along with the support of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Coconino County Sheriff's Office used DNA testing to identify the family ties of this girl. And it was February of 2021 when they identified who Valentine Sally was. She was Carolyn Eaton, a 17-year-old runaway from Bellefonte Neighbors, Missouri. It is a suburb right outside of St. Louis. The girl had ran away from her home around Christmas 1981. Eaton was one of 6 sisters, and it appears that she'd had an argument with somebody right around that Christmas time and taken off. She was never seen by her family again. Though her family was in Missouri, she had a connection to a woman in Arizona named Patty Wilkins. It is thought that Patty was one of the last people to see her alive, and Patty is quoted as saying, "Well, I'm just gonna cry. It's like one of my girls. It's only been her and me for decades, and now she's got a family. Isn't that great? It doesn't get any better." Patty Wilkins' family owned the Monte Carlo truck stop near Ashford, Arizona. It's a tiny little community between Williams and Kingman. Now, this is part of still Route 66. So Patty responded to the sheriff's office after she saw flyers when the girl was discovered, and she related this story to them. That February 4th, 1982, about 3 a.m., a young blonde girl came into the restaurant with a man in a cowboy hat, and the man appeared to be in his 50s, maybe early 60s. And the two were sitting together and conversing. They were getting along. And Patty paid attention to this because it seemed kind of like an unusual pairing. She said the girl appeared comfortable, though, with the man. And this was at a time in our history when people still hitchhiked as a means of transportation. Patty was used to seeing runaways on this strip of highway and would notify the sheriff's office. But because of the way the two behaved together, she saw no reason to do that with this young blonde girl. The couple were in the truck stop for about an hour, and the girl had a toothache, for which Patty gave her a baby aspirin to put in her mouth to relieve the pain. She stated that the man appeared to be concerned about her. Other witnesses thought that they saw the girl with two men, but Patty only saw the one man. And he was in this two-tone brown leather vest and felt cowboy hat with a large peacock feather in it. Still concerned, Wilkins finally asked the girl, "Are you okay? Do you want to stay here or do you want to leave with him?" And the girl told her, "No, I'll go with him." Wilkins replays the interaction with the girl over and over and has for years. She is finally finding peace now that Valentine Sally's identity and family have been discovered. The Doe Network reported that an NAU student, that's Northern Arizona University, said he had thought he'd given the girl a ride. She related to him that she had been living in Phoenix with friends and working as a dishwasher. She told him she needed to get back to New Jersey because of family problems. She was headed to the Little America truck stop in Flagstaff and was going to grab a ride with a trucker going east. They stated it was possible that she went to the dentist around February 2nd for a tooth in Phoenix. When the girl's body was finally discovered and autopsied, it had been discovered that her tooth was prepped for a root canal the week before. There were also the presence of baby aspirin, and she was wearing the same clothes as she did at the truck stop. This means that she was killed shortly after Patty Wilkins saw her. Caroline was buried in Williams, Arizona, and Patty raised $187 to buy a tombstone for her grave. Sergeant Jack Judd was haunted by this case also, this young girl dying with no name and no family. So he made effort to try to discover her identity. And there were some missteps along the way. There was a young blonde woman out of Florida named Melody Cutlip. She had been missing since 1980, and she was reported by her mother, Mrs. Gervais. The sheriff's office called Mrs. Gervais and talked to her about the missing girl. Melody Cutlip was blonde, had the same general build as Valentine Sally, and when they called her mother disagreed. She didn't believe that the woman they found was her daughter, citing there was no evidence, she'd never had dental work, and she had no reason to believe the girl would be in Arizona. Turns out that Melody Cutlip was alive and resurfaced in 1986. She was now of legal age and engaged. She had been traveling around the country as a crafts saleswoman, and when she went to Florida for a show, she called her mother. Turns out her mother was right. She had never had a root canal or been to Arizona. Melody eventually settled down in Louisiana. She was a customer service rep for the Budget Rent-A-Car, and she was engaged to a man named Harold Burns. On September 11th, 1998, she got into a car accident on her way home. Her car skidded through water during a storm, and she crashed into a truck. She died instantly at 32. Patty Wilkins has been happy to return Carolyn Eaton to her family, glad that she is finally going home. And the Coconino County Sheriff's Department is also happy to send Caroline back to her family. That's it for me, and have a good week.